everybody. How you all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, before we get started, don't forget to go down below, check out the links that I have set up for pieces and parts and tools and stuff, things that I've used on my Tacoma back there. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now, what I want to talk about today, recently, I put up a video taking a look at the rear end of the Tacoma. You know, the differential, the drive shaft, the axle, you know, where all that stuff comes together. And I did that because I wanted to see if the lift that I did caused any issues back there. You know, I've read some stuff and heard some stuff that if you lift the truck, it can cause problems and you need to do this and that and everything else to alleviate that. So I thought, you know, I've never seen it before. I'm going to put a camera under there and take a look, and I did. And you guys can check out that video. I'll leave a link down below to that. And I was quite shocked, quite surprised. Now, I will say that I was shocked and surprised not because there was something wrong, but because of my own ignorance. I've never done that before. I've never put a camera underneath the truck and looked at that part, the rear end of the truck. Frankly, I never had a reason to. Never done a lift before, so I didn't need to put a camera under there. But I did. And there was a ton of movement, I thought. You know, things flexed and moved and bent and up and down and all kinds of stuff. So, that got me wondering, do I have a problem? Well, I got lots of comments and things, of course, on the channel, ranging from, you should scrap it, the usual, to, you're nuts, what are you doing? It's fine. So I kind of issued a little bit of a challenge, and I asked another YouTuber, or any YouTuber out there, to do the same thing, you know, put up a video of your stock Tacoma for comparison, selfishly for me, you know. And one did, a fellow by the name of Snail Trail 4x4. So check him out if you haven't. He shot a video of his stock Tacoma and what the rear end of his truck looked like underneath during normal driving conditions, some fast acceleration, some braking, stuff like that. And I was pleasantly surprised. First of all, thank you to Snail Trail for doing that video. It's awesome. But I was surprised and relieved because his truck, being stock, looked almost identical to my truck with the lift, as far as how everything moved around and reacted back there. Apparently, there is a lot of axle wrap inherent to the Tacoma when it comes from the factory. That's just how they're built, that's how they're engineered. Things move around a lot under there. So that made me happy. Then I decided, you know, I'm gonna go one step further and I'm gonna shoot a video of the Tundra to see how it looks underneath during normal and accelerating and all those different driving parameters, if you will. So I did, and I'll put a link to that down below as well. But I went around, I drove around in the Tundra, and it didn't move as much. I will say that. It didn't move as much as the Tacoma does, but it does move. Again, my ignorance. I've never seen it before, so it wasn't as shocking to me now, since I have a little more knowledge, right? But it did move around a little bit. So, and I'll leave a little snippet right here, so you guys can see the two of them. The Tundra and the Tacoma and the difference that they have. So where does that leave me then? Well, I am confident that I didn't do anything, or that the lift didn't do anything on the Tacoma to screw things up in the rear end. If they're screwed up, they came that way. So I don't think I have any problem there. I think it's normal for the truck. I don't think anything else needs to be done. Now, there's one other thing that I've kind of discovered throughout this whole process, and in looking at my own truck. I'll show you right now. And that is the angle of the drive shaft. You guys can see, and hopefully it comes up on camera. I don't know how well it'll come through, but right here at the carrier bearing points, the front part of the shaft angles down, of course, out of the transmission. It angles down. And then right here at this junction, the carrier bearing, kind of goes up a little bit before it rejoins, if you will, the back part of the shaft and then carries on back to the differential. Now, I think that this little section right here should be more level. It should be more smooth, if you will, as it travels from the transmission all the way back to the differential. So I've decided, and one other thing I will say about that, there have been a lot of folks that have complained about vibration after doing a lift. They did their lift, everything's great, truck looks fine, but it vibrates. It vibrates at the drive shaft. So there is a little mod out there for that. It's a drop kit made by Old Man Emu, and I'll leave a link down below for that if you're interested in checking that out. But it's a drop kit that you put on the carrier bearing, and let's crawl underneath here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It merely comes with a couple of bolts, longer bolts, because you'll need them for each side here, and then a couple of shims that go in between this bracket and the holder, if you will, up above. So in essence, lowering, you see that's my visual, lowering this whole assembly just a little bit. Now, it's probably going to end up being about a 1/4 inch or something like that. So it's nothing, nothing hugely, you know, changing, which is good because I don't want to change anything, you know, drastically. But I think in doing that, I'll come back out here to the other side, I'm going to bring this down just a little bit to smooth out this this angle here, or this little hump, if you will, right where the front part and the rear part of the shafts meet. Now, as I mentioned, a lot of people say that this cures the vibration that they had. I even had a fella get on and comment that he's taken his truck back to the tire shop several times, I think 3 times, to have the tires rebalanced because he's got a vibration. And he commented to me that, well, maybe it's not the tires, maybe it's this. Maybe it needs the little drop kit to get rid of that vibration that he's having, and it's not the tires, it's in the drive shaft. So he's going to try that. If you're out there and you're watching this, let me know if that works for you. I'd be curious, because it very well could just be that, and your tires are fine. So, I don't have a vibration problem in my truck that I'm aware of. Now, I will say that I didn't have the truck too long as stock before I went ahead and had the lift and the new wheels and tires and all that done. So I don't have a good point of reference really as to what it would have felt like before I had all this stuff done. So maybe there is a vibration under there and I don't even notice it. I don't know. We're going to find out. I have the kit on order. It should be here, I don't know, in the next few days. And then we're going to go ahead and put it on the truck. And there'll be an install video on that, by the way, because I am a YouTuber. And I'll show you how that's done. So I don't want to go too deeply into that right now. One thing that I will say, if you're going to do that, just be careful when you do it. Don't take the whole bracket under the carrier bearing or the carrier bearing bracket off, because the shaft will drop down a bit. I don't believe it would fall out, but I don't know, maybe. So make sure you support that either by taking one bolt out at a time, you know, loosen one a little bit, take the other one out, put your spacer in, tighten it up, and then same thing on the other side. Best is to support that shaft, of course, if you're going to do it. Best way to do that, I think, is with a jack stand. If you're going to do it on the ground, of course I'm not. I have the lift, so I'll be doing it on the lift and using my ever favorite bungee cords, just to secure that shaft while I'm messing around at that point. So we're going to see what happens. I'll be very interested to see if there's any change, and I don't expect there to be, in the rear end. In other words, if maybe a little bit of that movement ceases, you know, if by just lowering the shaft that small amount, and I know it's a small amount, a couple of people have told me, well, you should put blocks under there like, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. That's a lot. And maybe they're just screwing with me, probably. But I think a 1/4 inch is fine. And it's amazing how much of a difference such a little change can make. For instance, the seat mod, the front seat mod I did in the truck where I put a spacer under the back to raise the back seat up a little bit to level that seat out, feels like a truck now. Anyway, we're gonna find out what happens. I think it's all gonna be good. My biggest thing here is whether or not I have a vibration. I won't know until I do it to see if anything changes. Again, I don't believe I have any issue in the rear whatsoever. I think that's inherent or normal for the Toyota Tacoma. So not really concerned about that. As usual, appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.